Okay, my name is Debbie Butters and I'm a midwife and a lactation consultant and childbirth educator. And I first visited Papua New Guinea in 2012, and that was with the YWAM ship. And that was quite a pivotal moment in my life as I realised that PNG, for one, was not quite as scary a place as I had envisaged. And it was a place where my skills as a midwife could be very useful. It also linked with the interest in countries where there's still real adventure and not overcrowded. And so then I returned to PNG 10 times since then. First of all, with another midwife, Sarah, who was part of Living Child, and we visited the East Sepik. And then I met these gentlemen at WEWAC, and Dr. Max Stevenson on the right was a doctor in Anguganak for a couple of years in the 1960s. And he asked us to take this safe motherhood training to Anguganak. And so in 2015, I went with Dr. Max Stevenson. The childbirth education is very important because 830 women die every day from preventable pregnancy complications, and nearly all of those are in places like PNG, in challenging places, not in Western countries. And so since 2015, I've been taking teams of midwives to Anguganak to do safe motherhood training and obstetric emergency drills. We take birth kits for the village birth attendants, and we take incentive bags as a gift for a mother when she chooses to have a healthcare centre birth. And this has increased the number of women that will seek birth at the healthcare centre instead of the village. And so this gives opportunity to have trained staff to attend their birth, to deal with hemorrhage, to deal with resuscitating the baby. So this is, Anguganak is way up the top of West Sepik. That's gone again. We've had a beautiful group of connections with people over the years. So we've tried to make sure we partner with the local providers, the healthcare workers, the Christian Brethren church people, the healthcare system, and the local community, the Bible school, the teachers. And so we've become part of Anguganak, a very special village that is used to dealing with conferences, used to dealing with groups of people coming. And so it's a special place to be at. One of the big problems is that since independence in 1975, the standard of healthcare has deteriorated. And so the healthcare centre was once able to do caesarean sections. It had electricity, it had running water, but that is no longer the case. And so the place is quite neglected, and there is no longer opportunities to even give a blood transfusion or to do a caesarean section. Most of the time, there's no running water in the hospital, and there's no electricity, and so the visiting healthcare workers won't, the teams of doctors won't come because they can't wash their hands. The women are not even able to have a shower or have clean running water, so the standard of care has deteriorated. So Dr. Max Stevenson really encouraged us to get alongside him and behind him with the water tank project. And this is aiming to provide a sustainable collection of water tanks that will be gravity fed and placed higher up on the hillside, so that the water is collected on a roof structure and then goes down to the healthcare centre. And that means that the standard of care will increase, the community will have more confidence in the healthcare centre. And so we have been in communication and partnered with HealthServe since 2019. And this was a very important achievement in that it gives our little project credibility, it gives the ability for tax deductible donations, and it also helps keep the local community accountable when they need to be able to show proof that the money is being spent wisely and that things are being achieved. It's difficult in PNG when you decide you want to build something, because you don't even get to go buy the timber. You have to buy the tree and then mill the timber, and then about 12 loads in the ute to bring the timber back to the healthcare centre. So complicated with that was that when COVID-19 came around, our trip to PNG was cancelled in 2020, along with Dr. Max's from New Zealand. And again, this year, none of us have been able to go. So it has been vital that we had strong connections with the teams in Anguganak, and they've run the whole thing themselves, with long distance guidance from the team in New Zealand and from ourselves, and kept us up to date with reports and with photographs. So this was collecting the timber ready for building the structure that would collect the water. Then they needed to collect the gravel from the riverbed, and they mostly use the women to do that because they're the strong ones. They do the gardening, they carry things. The men want to be available in case there's danger, so they get the ladies to do all the hard work and the heavy stuff. And they're quite proud of their strong women that carried the rocks up the hill. And so it's been really good to have partnered with HealthServe, so the local people really see the importance of transparency, and that we're looking out for them. And so it's been a good long distance teamwork. So it took a lot longer than we expected, mostly because of COVID, but eventually they got permission to use this land higher up the hill, which they had to have community involvement to choose which spot that they would let the health service use. And then another month or so before they could get the metal pipes and dig the holes and make the structure. And then I had one more. So this year we have continued, and there should be one more picture. This year it has continued well. We've had a couple of times when it's had to shut down because of the COVID meant that the VOC Ed students that were helping do the project were sent home, that they weren't allowed to attend school for a few months this year, as well as a few months last year. But we now have a structured building with all the cemented platform underneath. We have 8 tanks. We have all the guttering done. We've had pipes a good 500, 700 meters down the hill, all been put together. And just in this last week, I've had a beautiful email sent to me. This is from Stephen, who has been our main supervisor over there while we haven't been able to visit. And he's an engineer and works over at Lahia Island as well. Good afternoon all. Before I left WeWack yesterday to Port Moresby for working commitments, Mr. Pinnon advised me that all pipe work was completed. The connections to the 8 tanks also connected. Yesterday, Mr. Pinnon did a test run by opening 2 taps connected to 4 of the tanks from the northern end of the building. The water flows with high pressure all the way to the healthcare centre where the standard pipes are. They experienced a very high water pressure. Imagine if the other taps are opened at the same time. The pressure will be high enough that I believe we will not require solar pump at the western end of the hospital building to pump water up to the header tank. Leaks were observed in only 2 joints, not a major issue, just tightening up of the threads. Mr. Pinnon will get that fixed on Monday. He will as well erect support stands for the water pipe where it travels over the creek. Over the next 2 weeks, the VOC-Ed students will do a list of what extra materials are needed to replace the current taps in the facility at the healthcare centre. Hopefully we might replace the current header tank with a 500-litre tank. That is just my thought. We will wait till Mr. Pinnon and his team advises us. So it's progressed amazingly well, even though we haven't been there. It's progressed all under the local, the effort of all the local teams. It's been a very special thing to watch from here and New Zealand that the PNG community have continued with the project despite our inability to be there and assist them. So we're expecting water in the hospital soon, and that will be very important because at the moment the women have been turned away for birth because there's no water for the staff to wash the instruments or to care for them. So it means that the standard of healthcare will improve, and that's because of the teamwork of ourselves, of HealthServe New Zealand and PNG. So very grateful for the support that we've had.
Deb, thank you for an excellent presentation demonstrating the importance of partnership in building health infrastructure leading to safe births and clean water. And well done. Great program to support.